Welcome back, y'all, to Life in the New
Welcome,
Normal podcast.
welcome back.
Gina, you know what I
Yes.
realized?
What?
You and I never really introduce ourselves, so
Oh,
people are probably listening to us going, "Who the f- are these bitches?"
right. I
So,
was thinking that last night.
yeah.
I am Dina. I'm originally from Southern California, grew up in Newport Beach, went to three different high schools, three different junior highs, and three different elementaries in Orange County, and then moved to LA when I was 18, pursued acting for 18 years. I have a godmother who is a famous intuitive, and then I started getting into metaphysics at a very young age and spiritual life and stuff like that. And then after pursuing acting, clearly I didn't make it. um I started doing my intuitive work, and I've been doing it since 2004. And I started getting into life coaching and everything after I was into therapy. So I was thinking last night too, is like people like, why are we listening to these
Mm-hmm.
two?
Mm-hmm.
Because I've been through a lot, and
Mm-hmm.
it may be um my stuff that I've learned in my 26 years of therapy, in my life coaching business, and what I've gone through in my childhood throughout my life as I'm 53 right now. I feel like it would be a little selfish to keep all these tools to myself and not share them with other people. And so for
Mm-hmm.
me, I spend a lot of time alone. I have ADHD, and I've spent a lot of time alone. So I think what happens is I think a lot, and then there's so many little nuggets of wisdom I like to share, and then hence why we're doing this project. So
Yeah.
that's me in a nutshell. And oh
Nice.
wait, I forgot the major thing. I live in Italy.
You do.
And yes, I live in Italy. I lived in Rome for 10 years, and now I live in Abruzzo, and it's amazing.
Awesome. Amazing. I
Yes,
was
and
literally just
you.
going to say, I'm Ashley Hydrick, your podcast co host.
No,
I just wanted an
you have
intro.
to
That's amazing.
you
Well, now I feel the pressure.
Yes,
Um,
please do, because people like to know who they're listening to so they can get a vibe of who we
yeah,
are. It's like, why just listen to these two? Because we're two girls who know a lot of stuff, and we've been around the block, and let's start some conversations to be there for each other, because we need a tribe.
sure.
Like women
Totally.
and men and people need to go to a place where it's safe and you build each other up. You don't sit there and go, well, it wouldn't have happened if you did A, B, C, or D, right? We want to support you and figure out why it keeps happening. So,
Absolutely.
who
Yes.
are
And we do have
you?
a little intro video at the top of the podcast episodes that people can watch
Yes.
too. But this, yeah, it's good to have a refresher. My name is Ashley Hydrick. I am a writer, producer, and now editor, apparently. Thank you, Life in the New Normal.
Thank you,
Graphic
Ashley.
designer slash
Yes.
audio engineer. Fuck.
Slash social media
Slash
marketer.
social media. Good Lord. But I started working with Dina, Coach Dena, 6 years ago.
I think so, yeah.
And this has slowly sort of evolved as I was doing creative projects. We just sort of melded together into this one, and it's been amazing. So, aside from handling the tech side of things, I've sort of been the person that's been thrown in the frying pan as of late, right? For all of
Yes.
us to learn something from Coach Dena, I think, which I actually don't
Yeah.
mind at all. I think it's amazing, and I'm happy to do that until
And
it
I
gets
think I
too
use,
uncomfortable and I raise my
see,
hand.
I'm sorry, but
I'm
I
glad
think
I
I
have
use
editing capabilities because I can just cut that shit if something, goes
Right,
sideways.
but
But
I use you because I think sometimes the easiest way of learning for some people is devil's advocate, right? Where
I
you
see
you
that.
play the scenarios in your head. I'm so sorry.
No, I totally I no, and I think that it's great, and I'm enjoying what we're doing, and I think if it helps
Mhm.
people, I mean, shit, we ain't perfect, and I'm gonna say things
No.
that Dina and I were just talking about this earlier. It's like I said things in the last episode about the dating, that I'm like, maybe I
Hmm.
shouldn't have said that, but it's like
Yes.
it is what it is, folks. So hopefully you
Yeah.
get where we're trying to head and help with just having these conversations. That's all.
For sure. And it's about growth. And if we're not perfect and incredible. Today, the purpose of these conversations is to watch each other evolve
Yeah.
and literally support each other and get
Yeah.
excited for each other and go, oh my God, dude, you came so far. Remember from the first episode or when we first met? Like, we're completely different people.
Totally. We are.
There we go. So that is who we
So-
are. So if you're listening and you think we're two cool gals, stay tuned. Like, keep up, join the conversation.
And if you don't, then get the fuck out of here.
Exactly. Get the fuck owie. Like, I don't need no negativity.
Ain't nobody
in my
got time
vibe.
for you.
Right?
Yeah. No, but seriously,
No, I
we're here to
don't. I
support.
can't. Exactly.
Feel free to ping us with ideas, topics, things you want to talk about. If you want to come on, our email address is litnnguest@gmail.com. So we would love to hear from you. We'd love to have you on the show, and or comment below. Anyway, all right, let's get into it. So today's topic is, and Dena, you came up with this one: expectations are resentments waiting to happen. And I feel that one. So,
I heard it from a friend, and I asked her what she's been learning and some of her therapy and everything, and she wrote me that, right? So that piggybacks on the expectation, right, of the attachment. So let's say if I give you a gift, or let's say if I do something nice for you and it was my idea and there's no reason, I'm doing something nice for you, but what I've been guilty of in the past is I'm doing it because I'm so excited for your response. Instead of just doing a nice thing, which then that probably how you were saying in another episode, how that puts pressure on you. Right. And so if we lose the expectation and the attachment and the stuff, then there goes the resentment and all of the other stuff.
Right. So let's get into this a little bit. And this is keeping in the theme, our monthly theme of relationships too, right?
Yeah.
So I think this is an important one. I'm really glad you brought this up because I have heard it said that when you have an expectation and you're giving to someone, you're waiting for that, and it makes you feel good, that is your ego being fed.
Of course.
Right.
Yes, because the thing is that they say that you receive the same amount of serotonin, dopamine, all of that when you give as when you receive.
Right.
And so I think that I'm a giver probably for a selfish reason for a very long time because it gave me so much joy and so much dopamine, right? And so much all of that. And so I think that, like I was saying earlier, I used to attach, and I still do when I'm not always very focused on it. I have to, until it becomes normal for me, I always have to be aware. But sure, I want to make cookies and things because I'm so excited for someone. They've never tried American peanut butter cookies or whatever. And then literally one time this girl goes, yeah, that's not my type, not my thing. And I was like, what? Ew. And I was offended.
Yeah.
Because therefore I had an expectation.
Right. I mean, it's still rude that she said that when you did.
I understand, and that's Italians because they weren't Italian cookies. But in the sense is that I got really hurt. But if I didn't care and I didn't have an attachment, I would be like, oh, she doesn't like them. Let me give them to someone else. You know what I mean?
And I'm not saying that it's not good to give and do things for people because it's beautiful. It's a beautiful gesture. It's a beautiful sentiment. And you are very giving. And I am guilty of the same thing of like giving and then hoping that you'll get that, somebody will like you because you gave them this, or you'll get some sort of positive response back from somebody that you're excited about, right?
Yes. Or to get someone's attention,
or to get
someone
attention.
To call you if they haven't called you, and then you send them something really nice because you want them to respond, or you do something like that. I've been guilty of that a lot.
Yeah, totally. And I am too. And removing that expectation is difficult because when you've put a lot of thought into something, when you get excited, that whole time you're putting something nice together, the whole time you're baking cookies, the whole time you're doing it, you're just like, happy, filled with dopamine. So when somebody comes along and squashes your bubble afterwards, it's painful, right?
Totally.
I'm guilty of bubble squashing. We know this.
Totally.
Because I'm one
Totally.
of those people that does, feel a little bit of pressure sometimes if people give to me, because it's not that I don't appreciate it, it's not that I don't, respect it. I'm not used to it, and it's a little
Hmm.
uncomfortable for me because I feel then there might be a string of some sort attached to
There's
that,
for sure, there's an
and maybe there's
expectation.
not.
Yes, that
Right.
is true. And we never know because we never know who we're dealing with. And then how will you know? So then in the beginning, it's like you have to learn until you find out to receive without having an accusatory thought in your head of like, oh shit, here we go. This person's going to want something from me. Why do we, instead of just, it's a nice gesture.
Right.
Like, you
Because I
know,
did have people in, when I was growing up who gave with strings, and in,
me too.
in a very unhealthy way. And so I've always had a little red flag up when it's somebody maybe I've just met or I'm not super close to yet that's just like, here you go, and trying to give
Yes.
so much to me. I'm like, what does this mean? What do they expect from me in return? I didn't ask them to do this.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So, can you give me an example? Because I'll give you one first of an
mm-hmm,
example where you started to have this sort of belief system. Because for me, growing up, listen, there was more than one person like this, but
mm-hmm,
my godmother, she used to, I would go to her house and she would go through her closet and she would
mm-hmm,
give me cool pants like Norma
uh-huh,
Kamali and all of this stuff, right? And then I was super stoked. And after she was done giving it, she goes, okay, now you can work for me for 15 hours to give because I gave you those clothes. I was
yeah,
like,
no,
no,
bitch,
bitch. What? That is not what
no,
this was about. But I
no,
did it
yeah,
because of the guilt and the stuff. And then I would
right,
be resentful. And then anytime she would ask if I wanted something, I'd say no
mm-hmm,
because I knew that there was an attachment. But either way, whether I accepted the gift or not, she still would say, oh, I need your help. Oh, I need this. Oh, so then what would happen is you don't look forward to going over there because you know that it's never just me coming over. Right. And
mm-hmm,
so
mm-hmm,
for her, years later, she had said to me, you know, Dina, I realized you're so different than most is because you never asked me for readings. You never wanted anything from me. You just showed up. Took her 30 years to realize that.
uh-huh,
But look at how long I did it.
yeah,
30 years I was
yeah,
showing up just to prove to her that I was actually giving because I wanted to and I wanted nothing in return.
hmm. Why do you
And
think
I
you did
think that
that so
was,
long?
I think I did that because she was like a mother figure and I didn't
Uh-huh,
have a
oh,
mom and I
yeah,
was a
yeah,
kid wanting to
yeah,
make her
of
happy,
course, oh,
So what was your
that's
example?
sad.
I
Well,
know,
I
sad.
had a family member, an extended family member, who would buy me expensive gifts
Mm.
and with expectations of some sort of closeness,
Ah,
that felt sexual in nature to me, and it never happened, thank God. But I felt the pressure of it.
but that's got to be really uncomfortable, especially
Well, I
as a
was a
kid.
kid. Yeah, it was really
Yeah.
uncomfortable. And, again, with the boundaries and the not learning where your boundaries are, this harkens back to our last conversation of
Mm-hmm.
like, all your boundaries become shattered. So then I'm assuming I know it came from there
Oh,
because
yeah.
moving
Well,
forward, it's like, you don't date people who want to give to you. I didn't date people who tried to give to me. It was always, I wanted to control that. I wanted to be the one that gave. Don't try to
of
give to me
course.
because then I don't know what you want from me in return.
Exactly. And
Right?
I had had situations growing up where, from extended family members, there was some inappropriate sexual behavior. So for
Mm-hmm.
me, anytime someone was nice to me was always it leading up to,
Mm.
an act or something or whatever. And then afterwards, it would be very confusing because then they would be like, get out of my face, you're disgusting,
Mm-hmm.
and it's this very confusing thing. So I think the child in me always just wanted to be good, not for those reasons but to be a good girl.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just kind of did what I was told because in my household growing up, I mean, listen, I was raised by a narcissist and somebody who had mental illness, like definitely bipolar and maybe some mania stuff was my mom. So it was like, it was the lesser of two evil who you're trying to balance, right? So
Mm-hmm.
if I'm trying to make a narcissist happy, that is never going to be done. And
Mm-hmm.
then if you're trying to make somebody with mental illness happy, it just depends on the day if she's going to be kind or not. But it's literally like gauging something. So I got into the mode of trying to keep the peace with everyone. So if my brothers were fighting with a parent or whatever, I always jumped in and
Yeah.
tried to make it happy. So
Same.
I think that maybe that's where I learned my giving with attachment was, look, if I'm good enough, you'll see how good I am.
Yeah.
And then things will stop and your world will be okay.
Right.
So I think like sometimes I'm trying to solve people's problems with things or making them feel a certain way. And then automatically I'll get in there and I'll just like take on stuff that I'm not even supposed to take on for other people to make them feel better because I know how bad it feels.
Right. Yeah, I
So
get
I think
that.
that's where we learn giving with attachment. See, so you took the opposite way and I took the
Mm-hmm.
opposite way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you see? So we could experience similar things and our outcomes and the way our filters take it. I
Mm-hmm.
was just so afraid all the time. And the only thing was performing, performing, performing. Look,
Mm-hmm.
daddy, look, mommy, look, I'm happy, I'm smiling, I'm not. And my dad said that I used to be crying on my face and they would be like, why are you crying? And I'd be like, I'm not crying. I'm not crying. Because I would be so afraid to not be performing and be happy to get the
Wow.
onslaught of whatever it would be that I would even deny my sadness.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of people out there that we all do that and we don't realize why we do it. I
Mm-hmm.
don't give with expectation out of a sense of you owe me and I want and blah, 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 blah. I give because that's all I learned how to do in order to. And yes, it comes with attachment because I want to be praised for being a good girl.
Mm-hmm. You want to be liked.
Yes, there you go. And I just figured that out. Fuck. Damn it. What the fuck? I thought I was giving because I'm a
Happy
good
therapy day.
person. Right? But damn it. Who's a good girl? I'm a good
uh,
girl.
you're a good
Right?
girl.
And so for
I
you,
like you,
I know you
but you
like
don't have
me.
to give me things.
I know I don't, right? That and logically that makes sense.
Yeah,
Tell
yeah.
the
Eh,
7-year-old in me.
right. Oh,
And
little
I'm still
pumpkin,
working on
it's
it. Look,
okay.
I know, and she's so cute and she's so understanding. But
Yeah,
26 years of therapy, I'm still working on it. But when you
me
learn it at
too.
such a young age, yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's difficult. And also when you grew up with a bunch of people who were similar around you and you saw similar things, I think that it's an I who likes to be alone and doesn't share my emotions with many.
Mm-hmm.
When you're left to your own devices and then you just keep harping on, okay, well, if I give more and I do more and I do
Right.
whatever, and then,
Right.
my husband will notice when he gets home, and then maybe we'll be intimate or he'll love me more. I'll show him how amazing he is. And
Mm.
then he gets home and I have all this attached to it. And literally none of the above happens. So,
Right.
what happens? I go, back to the drawing board. I have to
Mm-hmm.
up my game. Tomorrow, I'll bake more, I'll
Oh,
cook more,
wow.
I'll clean more,
Wow.
and
What a
I'll
vicious
do more.
cycle.
I know.
Vicious,
And it's
vicious cycle.
exhausting.
Yeah. Oh, man.
It's exhausting. Hence, probably why I do like to spend a lot of time alone so that I don't feel like I have to perform or give for the people around me.
Mm-hmm.
And so and also, let's be realistic. I hate to see people in need or sad or something. So I literally, from the bottom of my heart, will do whatever I can to get
Of
them out of
course.
it. But there's
Yeah, I get
also
that.
other things attached to that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right.
You know what I mean? So, did you
Totally.
have to perform as a kid with other family members or siblings or friends? Or because before you came out, did you find yourself having to perform without attachment in the sense of were you trying to cover up if you were gay? Did you not know?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it was a combination of what was happening with that family member that I was just
Mm-hmm.
keeping completely silent because it scared the shit out of me. And I was a kid and I'm like, I don't know what to do with this information. And I
Mm-hmm.
was getting nice things out of it. So I'm like, are all these things going to be taken away? It was just a weird thing.
Of course.
But yes, and in high school, I started recognizing that. I mean, I knew I was gay from the time I was 3 years old. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Let's be
There
friends.
was no question about that. I always was drawn to cute girls and women and just wanted to be around them. So in high school, but there were some really cute guys, who were lovely and so much fun. And I genuinely, legitimately fell in love with a couple of them. But then when it started to get really intimate, I went, whoa, I can't do this. This something feels like I never felt, it just never felt right.
Uh, yeah.
So I kept that up because it wasn't safe for me to come out in the South in the early
Mm-hmm.
80s, and it was
Mm-hmm.
Southern Baptist, it was conservative. No
Mm-hmm.
way. And the older generation, my grandparents were still alive, and there was no
Mm-hmm.
way I was going to bring any
Yeah.
of that up. So yeah, I hid, totally hid. My first girlfriend and I at 19, we got an apartment together as roommates, and we were living together and hooking up, but we were both still dating guys because on the exterior we wanted to keep that up. And then still, I think we were both so confused and so conflicted because we felt guilty because we
Uh-huh.
both were raised in religious homes. So we're like, I know I want to be with you, but God, this feels weird. And going out with these guys, I know we need to do this. And they're really nice guys and they're really cute. And I could do this for a little while, but God, that feels wrong too. And it was just a mess.
Did you overcompensate with trying to cover it up with your family, hence giving with expectation, meaning that I'm performing in this way so that they know for sure I'm not gay?
You mean like accepting an engagement ring
Yeah.
and starting to
Oh,
talk about,
what?
yeah, oh yeah. I
Shut
was
the
given an
front
engagement ring when I
door.
was 22, and I was like, oh, this is kind of fun.
Well, damn.
I know. I
That's
know.
amazing.
How
I've
heartbreaking for
the
him.
I never received an engagement ring.
Oh.
And now he gave me a ring, and 3 weeks later it turned green. And then I said to him, I literally
That
said,
motherfucker.
I know. And I
What
literally
the?
said this. No,
I'm
no,
so glad
listen
you're
to
not
this.
with him
He's a
anymore.
genius, right? I literally said, dude, did you give me a fake ring? He goes,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I wanted to make sure you said yes first.
What is wrong with him?
He's cheap.
Wow. Oh, shit.
And so then we
You
got
married
another
like
one,
your
right?
anti
I know I got a
personality.
culture. Well, I married everything opposite of that I used to date, right? Because the
Yeah,
expectation was hopefully you're completely different. And if I pick polar opposites, because all
right,
these guys were wrong before, then
right.
maybe, and then I got bait and switched.
And that is unfortunately what we do.
Yes.
Whoever hurt you deeply in your last relationship, you probably
Mm-hmm.
gravitate exactly towards the opposite in the next. So,
Totally.
yeah. For
And
for
so,
those of us
and
who have been dating for years,
I haven't
maybe
dated
not
in
those of you
a
that have been
long
married
time.
forever. Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
I haven't dated in a long time, but I'll tell you, even when I'm going to bring this up because this
Mm-hmm.
has really been painful for me. So I have nieces and nephews. I have
Mm-hmm.
11 of them,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sure lots of you have teenagers. I am not a mother, so I'm just an auntie, right?
Same.
And I find that we make so many excuses of why young people don't get back to us, of why they
Mm.
don't return
Yep.
calls. And I find that when I text, there is a bit of an expectation, which the logical part of
Mm-hmm.
my brain is, of course, you would hope someone would respond when you're
Mm-hmm.
trying to start a communication or a connection.
Mm-hmm.
And I find it hard to have no expectation to not want a response. Right. And
Of
so then I
course.
get resentful that I'm not getting the responses.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's who they've always been. So,
Mm-hmm.
what do we do in these situations? Because I'm mad, I'm hurt. Yes, it's wrong, but is it wrong to have expectation when it's a family member or it's a best friend or it's a relate, right? So it's like that quote. It's like
Right.
it depends on the situations, right? But I'm sure lots of people. So it's like, am I allowed to say something? Because it's gonna fall on deaf ears because they've always been this way. And the oldest I think is 26 and the youngest is 16. Everyone has cell phones, everyone has their own stuff, but I've always made excuses. It's hurtful. It's been almost 3 months and it's like, guys, I'm like your aunt. I'm in a foreign country. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
try to keep a relationship, but then I already know it's going to happen. And then I always think 3 steps ahead of
Mm-hmm.
like, they'll just call and be like, everything's normal. It's like, am I allowed to have that resentment, that attachment?
Mm-hmm.
Am I allowed to say something? Am I allowed to go, fuck you? Like, where the
Right.
fuck have you been for 3 months? Like, it's fucking shitty. And yeah, I'm gonna cry right now because
Aw.
it fucking
Because you love
hurts.
them.
And it,
Yeah.
I
You're close
love
to them. You're
them
really close to them.
totally. And
Right.
when you want a relationship with people, whether they're people go, oh, they're young, they're teenager. Listen, this is
Mm-hmm.
why I hate social media sometimes, is that you can see all over social media that they're out, they're like, and I
And
don't want
not
to make that
responding to
about
Aunt
me.
Dina. Right.
Exactly, but that's where that resentment comes from because you
Mm-hmm.
build attachment, right? But it's like, I think a lot of people can understand whether it's best friends, family members, cousins, whatever it may be. It's hurtful when you try to have the recent friendship that I lost. It's hurtful to try to have a relationship and get momentum and consistency, whether it's even someone new that you're dating, when it's literally radio silence for weeks. And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden they respond to a text and start the conversation that you started 3 months ago. And you're like, dude, I'm past that. Like, no.
Yeah.
Like, and so what I'm saying is that then at that point, what do? So you stop having expectation, and then out of resentment, I don't want to do to them what they do to me. But I feel like I'm at a place in my life where it's really important that I have like-minded individuals around me, and I don't just make exceptions because they are family members.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Treat me with respect the way I treat you with respect. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
asking you to call me every day. I'm not asking you to talk to me every day, but I am asking for a little bit of respect and some response and some consistency,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and that's hurtful.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like I would love for people to respond in the comments below is how you feel on that,
Right.
because there is a balance somewhere, right? So to
Yeah.
everything, we can't not have attachment, right? Because it builds resentment, but there is a balance of it. Maybe expectation isn't the thing, but it's like in my mind, it's like common sense. It's my family, they're going to respond. Yeah, no, it seems that's not the case.
Well, and I think, and this is not with any judgment, this is just a
Of
question
course.
because I have the same situation in my family. I
Uh-huh.
have nieces and nephews, and sometimes I reach out and they either don't respond at all or it
Mm.
takes, 48 hours for them to get back to me or whatever. In the beginning, that was very hurtful to me, and now I feel like if I really need to get a hold of them, I can reach out and call them, and I know they'll get back to me. If I'm just, I don't know.
Oh, I don't have that.
I
If
feel
I
like
try to get a
kids
hold, they don't respond.
really.
I say
That's not cool.
emergency when it's serious things, nothing from 5 of
Mm-hmm.
them.
Right, and I don't
So
text
I'm
them
so,
very often or call them very often.
mhm.
So it's like when I do reach out, most of the time they'll respond, but sometimes they don't. But I don't feel like they're doing it intentionally. I think at that age, kids are so like I remember being that age and I never thought about my aunts and uncles at that age. Never. Like
Yeah,
if
but
they
you
reached
didn't have
out
an
to
Auntie Dina.
if they but I had aunts that I loved that I
Okay.
absolutely would have like moved heaven and earth for.
Uh-huh.
And if they had reached out to me, we didn't have texting back then, so it's hard to say, but if they had reached out to me, I assume
If
that
they
I would
would
have
have
gotten back to
paged
them.
you, you would have gotten
But
back to them.
right, if they'd have paged me. But if I was out with my friends who were my
Mhm.
world back then, that nobody could penetrate that, time. If I was running my track practice, if I was on my horse, whatever, I would have just forgotten. I don't know. I try not to take those things personally, and it's so hard because I do think that
Mhm.
your brains aren't even fully formed when you're that age. You're what is it? There's a term that they talk about with
The
kids.
amygdala.
I don't know, cerebral
No, is
cortex,
it
something.
the,
There is a
yeah,
part of your
something, yeah, yeah.
brain, your judgments, your reason, all of that part of
Uh-huh.
your brain is not fully formed until you're like in your mid 20s. So, again, maybe I'm just making excuses for them, but I know what an
Okay.
idiot I was when I was a kid, and I know that I didn't think about people's emotions as much. It was all about what I was doing and my friends and what was right in front of me. But
Okay.
but not that
And
I
this
didn't
is where
love
the
them.
yeah, this is where the
I don't know.
resentment gets tricky, right? Because I'm holding on to resentment. And
Well, because
the
they're
fact
not
is,
adults and you're holding them very accountable and it
uh,
doesn't matter.
one's 26, the other
Okay, well,
one's
she should know better.
22, the other one's 22,
Yeah.
the other one is 20, the
Okay,
other
these are all
one
adults
is
then. These aren't, I
17.
gotcha.
Yes. And
Gotcha.
not only that, but listen, I
Mine are
get that. I
younger.
totally get where you're coming
Uh
from
huh.
in this that sense, but 5 years like this,
Yeah.
7 years like this,
Yeah.
it's not a new thing. It's a normal thing. So then anyone will go, oh, well, then what if they've always been like this? Then why do you care? Because I care. I show up for them. I
Right.
show up all the time. I'm never not there for something as best as I can.
Well, maybe
And
it's time to
again,
not
there
be
we
there for
go.
something
Exactly.
because
That's
the
the
only
hurtful
person it's
part.
hurt, the only person that it is hurting is you
I know.
and
And that's
me
the thing
and
that
look,
sucks.
well, look, I mean, these little assholes need to show, they need to see that they can't behave this way and have their amazing Aunt Dina still just because you're
Yeah.
training them to treat you
To
this
treat
way.
me. Yeah, exactly.
You're
And that's why I
training
need
them
to
that they
stop it.
can they can be this way, and then you're still gonna pick up the phone. You probably still send them Christmas gifts. You probably still call them
Nope.
every birthday.
Nope. No, I
Okay.
don't. No, no, no. Because, and even with the attachment thing, is the last time I sent a Christmas gift was when I sent a bag of t shirts that said Roma. I hadn't heard anything. And each bag was labeled for each kid because I sent it in every side because there's 5 kids. And I said, hey, did anyone get the t shirts? And they're like, what t shirts? I go, the Rome t shirts. They literally go, oh, that was from you.
Mm-hmm.
Who the fuck else do you know that
Of
lives there?
course, but then again, do you see that they were giving and waiting for the, you
Exactly.
know, yeah,
Totally. And that's I stopped then. And that was over 6 years
right.
ago with all the gifts.
Oh, good.
So I've
Yes.
gotten better about that. And
Yeah.
that was
It is
painful.
hurtful. It's very hurtful
Yeah.
because I realize that you're afraid that by you stepping back that that's really severing
Th-
a tie,
that is
right?
exactly it. Well, if
Yeah.
I step back and I don't try, I'm afraid that no one will try back and then there will go that connection and then
Right.
that's
Ooh.
that and
But
that's why I always do that.
don't you think maybe this is then where you really have to step back because you have to allow the universe to
Yes.
have your back and them
It's
to
like
show you
how many
at some
times do
point
I
without you
have
reaching
to?
out? You don't. I
I
think you just
know.
answered your own question and I'm
I
sorry. I know
know.
it's
It
super painful.
sucks. You put me in the frying pan, bitch.
Yay! I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I
No,
know
it's
it's
okay, but
painful.
I know that that's why a lot of times, and isn't it shitty that in most of my friendships or relationships, I've always been afraid that if I stop the one always reaching out and trying, that those friendships won't exist. And
Of course.
with over 60% of them, that has been the case. So that is where I have learned now to let go, because either way, hurt now or hurt later, it's going to
Right.
happen. So I've stopped since the end of August.
Right.
I had left a few messages of, please, it's really important, I need to talk. Got nothing, and then I've just stopped. And it's not out of resentment, it's just out of hurt. But I will say, I'm sure a lot of people could understand this, because it's not just to
Absolutely.
nieces and nephews, it's to
No.
kids, coworkers, best friend, whatever it
Partners,
may be. It's
everybody.
hurtful. And yeah, if someone is too overwhelming or too much, a sweet conversation of like, hey, look, I have a lot going on right now and I really want to catch up or whatever, and I'm not ignoring you, just simple, would go a long way.
There's your expectation.
Oh, there you go again. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck.
And
Fuck,
you're
fuck, fuck,
right.
fuck,
I'm
fuck.
not saying you're not right. That is what you would
Yeah,
do. That is what
I
I would
know.
do. There are certain people
I
that will.
know.
And that's where with you have to find your people. And those people that don't
Mm-hmm.
respond that way, or maybe they just,
Mm-hmm.
they don't, who knows. But I feel like we have to learn to let people come to us and give to us without, you know, pushing
Exactly.
and
Well, and I think it's
that's
part of control, right? So I'm going to give to you and have expectations on you. So I can set the parameters of if and when I will get upset or not get upset. Because now
mm-hmm,
I'm in control because I'm trying to make you happy, do for you. And if you don't appreciate it, then I'm going to come at you because now you're the problem and you were not appreciative enough and fuck you. And then that's a cycle I did for many years because
mm-hmm,
then I became the perpetual victim of like, oh,
exactly.
look,
You're
just like
setting
growing up, I
yourself up.
tried to, yeah.
Right.
And
Right.
that's hard because I
Right.
think that we don't realize that when we give, it's not just sometimes to do something nice, right? And so I have a
Exactly.
friend coming
Absolutely.
in town, Mrs. Dudley from
Mm-hmm.
London this weekend, and we generally always exchange gifts, and it's
Mm-hmm.
so lovely. And there is nothing behind it for me other than I think we both, she's 85, and we both like to show each other how much we care about each other. They're not expensive gifts, but
Mm-hmm.
just the idea that we thought of each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that friendship. And I love that her and I have been friends. Gosh, we've been friends now 8 years. We met in a women's group in Rome. And when I first met her, which I don't know which this was about. She had said that a group of the women that we were in said inappropriate things about me, and then she kept me to herself. And
Uh-huh.
so now it's funny because we stayed friends, but I'm like, huh, like it's not that I think she was doing it for the right reasons, right? But then there was this sense of loyalty that I felt to her because she
Mm-hmm.
did protect me. And then here I was again, but that relationship has
Compensating her.
exactly
Right.
fuck you again and again and again and again. I have taught you too much and go fuck yourself. Go fuck
That
yourself.
is true.
I mean, isn't it? But do you
Well,
see on the outside looking in when you're not the emotionally involved person, how much easier it is to see and get perspective?
yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
And listen, I listen to Abraham Hicks all the time and I'm a huge fan
Mm-hmm.
of that. This is all they talk about,
Oh,
is it,
yeah.
a lot of what they talk about.
Mm-hmm. And
It's wild.
it's wild and it's so important for us to be able to hear it in the right way we're going to receive it, right? So someone who hasn't had the luxury of being able to be exposed to spirituality, metaphysics,
Mm-hmm.
whatever you want to call it, God therapy, I think that they don't realize it, right? And so we all, it's like, the women and the men, I know a lot of men too who do everything. They
Mm-hmm.
want their family to
Yeah,
know.
me
And
too.
some of them, like I know someone who's very guilty of wanting his family to not be able to survive without him.
Yeah.
And so then you do everything, and then you get pissed off and you complain about
Mm-hmm.
your children or the friends or whatever who don't do anything without realizing you don't let anyone do anything because you
Mm-hmm.
want the praise for doing everything. And then, oh gosh, poor you do so much, your family doesn't help, blah blah blah, your food's amazing, this is amazing. And but
And you're
that too
exhausted.
comes with exactly,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
resentful, and then
Yeah.
pissed that they don't grow up to do certain things. Well, you never let them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So how can they?
Right.
Right. And so I think it's important that I used to be guilty of that, of like doing everything in the kitchen because I could do it quicker, faster. I knew what I was doing. Don't let
Yeah.
everyone in. But
I'm
then
guilty of that.
later, I would be
Let me just
resentful
do
that,
it because I can do it
yes,
right, or I can do it faster, or
yes.
I can do it better. I don't have
And
time
we
to
don't,
explain to you.
yeah. And we don't let people in our
Right.
kitchen.
Yeah.
And then we get resentful after because we're tired, we have so much mess to clean up, no one offered to help,
Well,
or
yeah, that's a good point because expectations come in all kinds of forms. Like it could not just be from
Mhm.
giving, it could be exactly what you're just saying, just assuming that someone should know something because that's what you're
Yes,
thinking. And this is
exactly.
something that I still practice all the time. Even though I've been
Hmm.
listening to them for years and trying to nail this, it's still like things come up all the time that I'm
Yeah, and like
like,
we
I
were
mean,
saying,
you and I go through
yes.
this. Yeah, I think I know you're about to throw me back in that pan.
No, no.
Um, but it's true. Like, Dina and I, working on this podcast, like, I'll have expectations sometimes, and bless your heart, you work so hard on those videos that you send me every day for me to post on social media, and she'll send me one sometimes, and I'll look at it and I'll go, damn it, can't she see that graphics clipped? Can't she see that it's a second too long for us to post? Can't she see that the audio's out of sync or whatever? And no, you just exported it. You're trying to get it to me in a timely manner. You've gotten beautiful, and you've got this beautiful intuitive message you're giving me and the world. And, I'm getting hung up on this little shit and having these expectations, and then I'm getting all worked up. You're not worked up. You don't have any idea that I'm, and it's like, why am I, when these are like, but these are the type things, like you and I, obviously we talk about them, and some things we address,
for sure, but it
and some
hasn't
things
been
we go,
easy.
it's not worth
Hasn't
it,
been easy because you and I are two totally different people. Like we couldn't be further from the spectrum of things. So like, it may seem like I act cavalier about things, but of course the ADHD and the autism and all of that, it's not that I'm acting cavalier. It's that in those moments I'm in tunnel vision. And then for me, out of sight, out of mind. Right. But now I find myself jerk. I find myself when I do the videos, I'm like, ooh, sounds off. No, I'm going to get it there. Oh no. And then sometimes what you do to me is you'll go, well, I mean, if you want that on YouTube and you don't want to add the other stuff, it's going to be there forever. And I'm like, damn, guilt trip. And I'm
it's
a
called
sucker
quality
for guilt
control.
trip. Okay, there we go. So, but I'm just the talent. So, oh my God. Like,
well, you are, but you're in another country. So unfortunately, this is the stuff but it's been great because you and I have had to work on pieces of our personality with something as simple as, these little technological things. And
yes, because
now I recognize it, and I'm like, oh, this is totally a test for me, and I just need to calm the fuck down.
And I get rejection sensitivity. It's like this thing with ADHD is we don't deal with rejection well. I think it's called rejection dysphoria. And so what will happen is I wind up taking it so personal, and then I wind up getting frustrated, and then I wind up getting resentful because it's that rejection dysphoria. The way the brain with the autism and ADHD work is,
I think anybody
I don't
can
take
do
it
that.
For
I don't think
sure,
that's I think anybody can feel that way when you've put so much of yourself into something and you're so proud of it. And it's, it really is always a beautiful message, and you always look great, and I can tell how much work you've put into it. And then I'm like, the graphics off or whatever.
Yes,
you're like,
totally.
fuck you, I've just spent 3 hours on this damn thing, and you're calling out the one thing. And that's something I need to work out too, is rather than just, but that's my producer brain. I've had years of training to look for the things that aren't working. Years.
And now so I understand
that's where my mind
that.
goes. But I have to be better at communicating it, because it does spill over into other areas of my life. It's not just this, I'll go straight to it in whatever, and I've been guilty
the
of that.
delivery.
So I have to take a step back, breathe, and let me tell Dena how much I appreciate first, and then tell her.
There we go.
By the way,
that works.
Fucking graphics clipped.
Right. And literally, it was like 1 second the other day, and then I had to go back, redo the whole thing. I know it's
producer brain. I cannot.
God
it's just like,
bless you. And I have to learn not to take it so personal.
Yeah.
And I have to learn, because it's not easy to go, well, it's not about you. Yes, it is. I just did the fucking video. It's about me.
It's so
I get it, but
you.
I've had to learn that.
Yeah.
Right? Because of the things that I've been through, that it was always blamed on me. So then, of course, I have to make it about me. Right?
No, I think we're such a good balance. I think, you've been so great at things that I'm not good at. And so,
thank you.
Good at learning to deal with some of this stuff. And we're like I said, we're in different countries. So it's like we're talking about this stuff over text
and I've tried to stay calm.
FaceTime. And you can only do what you can do.
Yes. And I've tried to stay calm. And then one time I cried something with our social media thing. And then you finally turned and said, the people that like us will find us. And then that calmed me down. And so it's a great balance.
Yeah. Anyway.
Definitely. Anyway, no, but I have no expectation with you. And I think I've learned that through this process.
I hope not.
No, I don't have any expectation other than you're showing up and you're doing the best you can.
Yes, there it is.
there it is.
There it is. And
So,
continuing to do better, right? We know better, we do better. That's what you always say. And
well,
I
and
agree.
there
We
we go.
trying to do better.
So the subtle change, profound impact would be show up, especially for yourself. And
Yes.
like you said, when you know better, you do better, and just try to do better.
Yeah.
Just try to do better than you did before,
Yeah.
and that's all you can do. And don't let people bait you, because people will come looking for the old you that services them and that performs for them, and they will bait you going, what's up with you today, da, 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 or they'll provoke you, and then the old you comes out, and it may not be the good old version of you. Right. And so you want to make sure that you show up on who you are now and stay consistent with her or him or whoever it is, right? Meaning yourself. So I'm not going to allow these people to take me out of my character. Hence, I'm not going to perform with attachment, because now I'm going to have an expectation is, if I perform for you, are you going to shut the fuck up?
Right. And I'm working on that. I'm working on that still. Even in emails, like somebody will email me. I'm in the middle of a real estate transaction right now, and it's like, again, back to like entertainment industry I was in for years, and I still am. But it's like people in that industry jump. It's like, you need something to happen. It happens right now, right now, right now, right now.
So then you're still on. Yes.
It's going to happen when it happens. And you just need to be okay with that. And you might hit your deadline and you might not. And it's like,
yes. Driving in Italy.
Oh, fuck.
I'll get to you when I get to you. In Italy, the customer is not always right. And it's not that customer service isn't a thing. It's just that it's not the same as it is in the States. So I have had to learn, because my expectation going in is like, you need to give me quality service. And they're like, no, we don't.
Yeah. A lot of restaurants even say we have the right to refuse you, in the States. It's like...
So I've had to learn to slow down and take it down a notch with my expectations. And that has changed me.
Me too.
In a great way. Yeah. So like, do you see how when you came to visit me, you're like, wait, why doesn't this happen? I was like that in the beginning, and I had to really chill the F out, because it's literally like, girl, who do you think you are? Like, and so that was humbling, but there you go.
So to wrap this up though, what I've been practicing, and just to put it out there with these people, that I normally want to give to, I've been asking, and praying, like, please show me these moments where this is what I do, so I can just stop, take a step back, think about, do I really want to go over the top for these people, or do I want to keep pressing in this real estate transaction for something that seems like an uphill battle? So if we truly believe that the universe has our backs and that we are deserving of things coming to us, we have to allow the space for that, right?
For sure. And it is scary if you're going through something and you really want something. It is scary to step back. Yes.
And I am practicing that right now. So we'll see what happens.
Good for you.
I am trying to just go, okay, this seems like a lot of closed doors. Take a step back and see what is revealed next. Because life hands you the next step, and then the next step, and then the next step. You don't get it all at once, right? I'm trying. What I'm saying is I'm trying.
Yes, and I am learning to allow people to call me when they want and not have expectations about the timelines. I'm working on that. And it's different for the nieces and nephews, but I'm still working on it with other people. And then so there we have it. We're learning. We're a work in progress. We're learning together, which makes it so much easier.
Yes.
So thank you.
So the subtle change, profound impact is take a deep breath. Try to release your expectations. Let that
show
person
up who you are now.
Show up who you are. Don't let them take you out of your character. Allow space for someone to come to you the way that they
yes
truly are.
And don't resort back to the old you to perform for them to get what it is that you think you want that has attachments to the outcome.
It's a lot of subtle changes, profound impacts.
Yes, but we gave the other one earlier.
I will list them in the comments, in the description. Anyway, all right. Well, it was so good talking to you, as always.
It was so good, and thank you for putting me in the frying pan.
Sorry I made you cry.
It's okay. You didn't make me cry. It's okay.
All right. Well, I love you.
All right. I love you too, and thank you. Okay. Ciao.